Most, if not all, its water from rainfall, which means there's no agricultural runoff or there's no cities of any type that's draining in the lake, making it one of North Carolina's cleaner lakes. It is clear lake. It should be coffee colored or tea colored like so many other bay lakes of this region. It is very acid water, but yet largemouth bass, which can't reproduce in acid water, they do real well here. We probably have the best, argumentatively the best largemouth bass fishing in North Carolina. And also we have the best pumpkin seed fishing in North Carolina.
Unlike Lake Waccamaw, there is no limestone to buffer or neutralize the acidic water conditions found in Phelps and most other Pocosin lakes.
The pH of Lake Phelps normally ranges between 4.3 and I've seen it about 5.5, which is acidic. This probably explains why we can't find any shellfish in Lake Phelps.
The acid has been a tremendous benefit for archaeologists because in this water, 30 Indian-made cypress canoes have been found preserved. The oldest are over 6,000 years old.
On the northern shore of Lake Phelps, Pettigrew owns one of eastern North Carolina's last virgin forests. Trees get up to 10 feet in diameter on the park. That would be your ball cypress, but we have other large species such as your tulip poplars. We have the sycamore. Matter of fact, one sycamore we have on the park, I have gotten an entire kindergarten class inside it. Not just, we even the understory trees we have large for their kind. The state record persimmon is here. The bay trees, the loblolly bay, sweet bay, and red bay state champions are located here, and the red bay is actually a national champion. This area just grows trees real fast. We have an extremely high water table, a relatively long growing season, and very rich soil.
This unique plant habitat is also one of the richest wildlife habitats on the East Coast.
This is North Carolina's least populated area and really one of the last truly rural areas in North Carolina, which means it also has more wildlife than anywhere else in North Carolina. When we have bird counts in the winter, most places have thousands of birds. We have hundreds of thousands of birds. When we have the butterfly count, the areas in North Carolina have hundreds of butterflies. We have thousands of butterflies.
Phelps, Waccamaw, and the other large lakes of the coastal plain are shallow and natural. There are numerous man-made ponds, however, one of the most famous of which is Merchant's Mill Pond in Gates County. Enchanted is the only word that does it justice. No one knows its history and secrets better than Floyd Williams of Merchant's Mill Pond State Park.
All right, this a Merchant's Mill Pond, the actual mill pond was formed back in the early 1800s. 1811 was when the mill dam was started, and apparently by sometime in 1812 they had the mill up and operating, and they used the water for their water power source. That was the only large source of power that they had during the day. The mill was a very important mill in this area because it was large. It was the largest mill pond in this area, and because of the amount of water that they had backed up here during times of drought, when other mill ponds would be have a shortage of water and wouldn't have enough to actually get into the mill house to turn the wheels, this mill pond generally did. So that made it important. It was a dependable place for people to come and get their grain ground. Most people that come here expect to see this swamp, and it's this low-lying area, and that's all they think. They think that there's really not any solid ground here. But if you go around the mill pond and you actually hike on some of our trails, you'd be surprised how much topography that we have. The mill pond's only 6.5 feet above sea level, but within say 100 feet from the mill pond, you can be up nearly 40 feet elevation.
The geology is diverse, but the natural diversity here is simply astounding.
This area, because of a lot of factors, is really has a tremendous amount of diversity in plant and animal life. The area before the mill pond was built was mostly just a bottomland hardwood area with the swamp areas around in the lower areas, and that was a fairly diverse area. There's lots and lots of life in these areas. But when the mill pond was built, it changed the factors quite a bit. Even though the mill pond is a human formed body of water, it allowed an ecosystem very similar to what you would have if there was a huge beaver dam complex in the area. It allowed permanent water to stand where in the past there would have just been temporary water, and different species were able to take advantage of that, just like in a beaver dam complex.
For many people, this man-made beaver pond offers one of the most exciting canoeing opportunities in North Carolina.
We always encourage people to get in one of the canoes and head out on the mill pond, and when they come back, it's amazing the looks on faces when they come back, because they're just astounded. One of the areas in the lower end of Laster Swamp above the mill pond is called the Enchanted Forest. That's something that I've heard since I've been here. And it's one of those places that if someone is able to go up into and see, it almost looks like there should be little gnomes and creatures jumping out of trees. The tupelo trees that are growing here in the mill pond get some bizarre shapes in them because of mistletoe.
In winter and summer, gray Spanish moss at the extreme northern end of its range make cypress and tupelo look even more ancient.
All the parks have their list of species that have been identified in those parks. At this point in time, Merchants Mill Pond has the most identified species, everything from insects all the way up to large mammals.
Among the reptiles are 11 species of turtles. A lovely mixture of snakes. And some of the northernmost alligators in North America. Over 200 species of birds have been observed here. And 34 species of fish live in the park's waters. There are 70 species of butterflies. And many of the state's largest and most beautiful spiders reside here. So now you've seen 2 lakes and a pond that are not only state parks, but 3 of the crown jewels of our coastal plain. Each should be on your travel list while exploring North Carolina.